Hello and welcome to the Mum's Guide to Money. This tip number 17 in our series of 30 days of 30 tips. So you're in the right place if you're planning a baby. Perhaps you're not quite sure on what all the rules are around maternity leave and maternity pay. So I cover lots of different topics, all about how to sort of financially plan and prepare for maternity leave. You might already be expecting, and if you are, congratulations. You're probably a bit confused. You've started to read all of the maternity pay policies that you've got at work. You might be a bit confused. It's all very, written in a clinical format, sometimes a bit difficult to understand. So my aim is to cut through all of that complexity and make it easier for you to understand. You might already be on maternity, a bit shocked. You know the money's going to run out very soon, just not quite sure when. So most of these tips are relevant for you. It's never too late to make a plan. So keep watching. Like I say, relevant for you even if maternity's already started. So what are we talking about today? So today we're going to talk about how maternity pay is calculated. It is quite confusing, like everything with all of this. If you've not had to think about it before, or you've not known someone really close who's gone through it, and sort of talk to you about it, it can be quite difficult. So, listen today to learn about how maternity pay is calculated. So I'm Charlene. I'm the author of The Mum's Guide to Money, which is this lovely book here. You see it here. So I started out writing a blog in 2020, and that turned into a book, which is all about financially planning and preparing for maternity leave. So how is maternity pay calculated? So like with all this stuff, it's all covered by the law here in the UK. So statutory maternity pay is the minimum amount that your employer has to pay you for maternity leave. So remember that maternity pay is for women who are employed. Other provisions exist if you're self-employed or unemployed, or you might not qualify for maternity pay. So the amount set by the government, it changes slightly each year based on inflation. And for the 21-22 financial year, it's just over £151. So it's set by the government, and the statutory amount is can be claimed back by your company. So they're not actually out of pocket for your maternity pay. Now, some organisations will pay over and above what the statutory amount is, so sometimes called contractual or enhanced maternity pay. But if your company do offer that, it has to be at least, if not better, than what statutory maternity pay offers you. So how is statutory maternity pay calculated rather? And the reason I cover this is because most people, this is what they'll get. And as a minimum, this is what you have to get. So statutory maternity pay is paid for 39 weeks in total, and where the first 6 weeks are your average weekly earnings times 90%. Now, some organisations might actually just pay you your average weekly earnings if they're at least what you're used to receiving. Others who might follow this to the letter will reduce it to that 90% figure. So you have your 6 weeks at sort of that higher rate, so based on your average weekly earnings. And then you get 33 weeks at sort of £151, and it's something like 20 pence or something random. Now, if you earn less than £151 a week in your average weekly earnings, they will cap that 33 weekly amount to whatever that average weekly earnings is. So if your average weekly earnings historically has been £100, that is what you'll actually get. So what is average weekly earnings? So it's your before tax income, which is included for national insurance calculation purposes. So if you earn less than £120 a week, and then please check on the HMRC website to calculate your average weekly earnings. So how is contractual maternity pay calculated? So this is sometimes called enhanced maternity pay, but it tends to be paid by sort of larger organisations, sort of government departments, and it's well over and above what statutory maternity pay is. So you the key thing to remember with this is that you cannot be worse off than what you have on statutory maternity pay. So, for example, some companies would pay 12 weeks at full pay, 12 weeks at half pay, which obviously is a hell of a lot more money than what you'd get from statutory maternity pay. But you have to remember that if they say that our maternity package is X amount, it has to at least be as good as statutory maternity pay. So how much is contractual maternity pay? And it will vary between organisations, but an example I experienced myself was 13 weeks on full pay, 13 weeks on half pay. It can vary, so they don't have to pay this. As long as they're paying the statutory amount, that's all they have to pay. Other organisations I've seen, if you've got 5 years of service, you might get 13 weeks of full pay and then move to the statutory amount. It just varies, so do check with your HR policies or in your employment contract. And always check the paperwork with anything to do with maternity leave and maternity pay. So there should be at least a maternity policy, and if not, it should be covered in your maybe staff handbook or your employment terms and conditions. And also check that any conditions around returning to work at the end of maternity. So if you're planning on not coming back and you've had an enhanced amount, just check what the rules are around paying that back. So how do we make sure that all of this goes smoothly for you? So whenever you're doing anything to do with your maternity pay or maternity leave, always put it in writing. Discuss it with your manager, discuss it with payroll, whoever, but put it in writing. Keep copies of everything. Don't just leave it with one person and then kind of walk away and say, oh yeah, I've done it, I've covered it. They might not even know what to do with it. You could be the first pregnant person they've ever had to manage. So make sure you copy in other people onto your email, or make copies of letters, or however you want to do it, but put it in writing to the right people, and make sure you get a confirmation back from them that says, we acknowledge you're going on maternity leave from the 1st of January or whatever it might be. Myself, I naively thought everything was sorted. I went happily on maternity leave, got paid, kept getting paid when I shouldn't have been paid. It turns out that no one had told payroll that I was on maternity, and then I ended up getting overpaid, which sounds nice, but it's not, because then I had to pay it all back. So make sure you do sort of chase people that your maternity pay has been acknowledged, etc. So I hope that's been helpful. That's just one of the many things that we cover in my book, available on Amazon. I'll put links in the comments. And that's only sort of half the story. If you then pop on over to my website, you can see some of the bonus content there that's there for free. So the first being my maternity leave budget and savings calculator. So all of the stuff that the book takes you through. There's lots of numbers that you're going to get sort of gathered on a piece of paper, not know what to do with them. Stick them in the calculator and it will spit a budget out for you and tell you where those pinch points are going to be and when your money might get a bit tight. The other thing that's available for free on my website is this planner, so maternity leave planner. Download it, take it away, print it at your leisure, work through all of the stuff that's in the book. It matches very nicely with the different chapters in the book. So end of every chapter in the book, you will see, let me just show you. For example, there's a list of things to do. This chapter is all about childcare. So a list of things to do written in the book. But then if you use the planner, there's plenty of places there. Let me just get it. So if I go to the childcare section in the planner, lots of really nice spaces for you to sort of research childcare providers, all things to look for when you're picking a childcare provider, places to make notes, tick things off when you've done them, etc. Because, as a mum, who doesn't love a list and a plan? So I hope that's been helpful. This is, like I say, I think we're at tip number 17 of 30 tips. So over the next few weeks, these will be uploaded. I hope it's been helpful. In the meantime, you can have a look around my social media or pop on over to Amazon and buy my book. So thanks for watching, and Keep watching for more tips on how to financially plan and prepare for maternity leave.